stop with you. And on a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate your response to this crisis?
I'd rate it a 10. I think we've done a great job.
And if a president repeatedly says things to you that are not true, and then there comes a time when they say, I have something that I think can cure you, but it could really hurt you.
Why would you downplay a pandemic that is known to disproportionately harm low-income families and minority communities?
Yeah. Well, I didn't downplay it. I actually, in many ways, I upplayed it in terms of action.
I wanted to always play it down. I still like playing it down.
Yes, sir.
Because I don't want to create a panic.
You lost your freedom because you didn't act. The freedom to go to that ball game, the freedom of your kid to go to school, the freedom to see your mom or dad in the hospital, the freedom just to walk around your neighborhood because of failure to act.
So if we're wondering who's going to be the best to lead us through this pandemic, control and maintain this infection disease that has went globally, worldwide, and nationwide, we're trying to see who should be elected to help us Americans do this. You have Joe Biden and Donald Trump. Joe Biden was a part of the Barack Obama and Joe Biden administration, and during those 8 years, they had to deal with multiple pandemics.
We're going to begin here with the outbreak of a mystery virus in China that now has the World Health Organization on edge. At least 4 people have died and hundreds more are sick, though there are concerns 5 times as many people could be infected.
The World Health Organization says a mysterious new virus detected in the Chinese city of Wuhan is likely to be from the same family that produced the deadly SARS and MERS outbreaks.
Concern is growing over a possible outbreak of a new SARS-like virus. The flu-like mystery illness first reported in China, already spreading to Japan and Thailand.
H1N1 swine flu, Ebola, Zika, and some of you were probably like, wait a minute. Yes, there were a multitude of pandemics of infection diseases that they had to deal with. But due to the fact that there was much adequate leadership, you didn't probably know about it. It wasn't because they didn't tell you what was going on. They gave nothing but full transparency of what was happening in real time and how severe it is and what it could do if you ever were to be one of the victims to come in contact with this. They did not lie to the public. And yet everyone knew, but was able to still go on about their everyday life. They worked well with other scientists, other top leading specialists, as well as other leaders around the world, so that wherever it was, they would control and maintain the spread of it. This is due to adequate leadership. You didn't have to worry about, do I have to wear a mask in public? Or do I have to work from home? Or do I have to put in a Zoom call? Do my kids need to stay home and work virtually with their teachers? Or if you're a senior, you were still able to walk across the stage and graduate with your class. No one had to stay away from their grandparents. Everyone was still able to go ahead and do their everyday life. Businesses weren't closed, asking for furloughs for their employees and hope that they can reopen their businesses. Bailouts or hospitals were overly packed and people weren't putting people in gyms and everything. No, none of this was a thought of mine, but they knew where this could lead if adequate leadership did not come forth. So yes, again, they told us in real time what was going on, but in real time they handled it. For anyone who was affected by it and everything, they tried their best to maintain it so it never did come in contact with you or your neighbors or your friends and families. Donald Trump is the current president and his administration is over this current COVID-19. It has actually been handled in the opposite form. Part of the Barack Obama administration, which Joe Biden is a part of, he was second in command, they put forth a pandemic team that would be in charge of foreseeing over future pandemics, infection disease, working with other scientists and world leaders and to see where they are if there was one to outbreak and how they can stop it before it starts to spread. In 2018, Donald Trump dismantled that very team.
President Trump's cuts to national security staff could end up hurting the government's response to the coronavirus.
But you did disband the White House Pandemic Office, and the officials that were working in that office left this administration abruptly. So what responsibility do you take to that? And the officials that worked in that office said that the White House lost valuable time because that office wasn't disbanded. What do you make of that?
Well, I just think it's a nasty question. Some of the people we cut, they haven't been used for many, many years, and if we ever need them, we can get them very quickly.
In 2019, we got COVID-19. In 2019 as well, the same day, both Joe Biden and Donald Trump was on Twitter. Joe Biden wrote on Twitter that there can always be another pandemic. There always can be another infection disease, and basically wrote and talked about how, hey, we need to make sure to watch out and control this, or watch out for anytime that something like this may occur. Donald Trump, on the other hand, was tweeting that he had issues with the new home button on the iPhone. Around the holiday season, everyone started to hear that in China, people are getting sick. It started to hit the news. It was getting told left and right. There was even citizens that were putting up YouTube videos that there were mass amount of people in China getting sick. Donald Trump, on the other hand, wasn't saying anything about this. But of course, he's getting the message. We're hearing it. I even heard it on the news. I'm a news junkie in some ways, so I was hearing that people were getting sick, but did not know what was going on and did not hear anything. So as just like any other American, we don't know the full extent of what to think of this. Throughout the last year of 2019, or throughout 2019, Donald Trump put a lot of focus into Hunter Biden, sending people over there, including his personal attorney, to look into ways to find things on him so that it can help a future opponent, when Joe Biden wasn't even considered the Democratic nominee at the time, but he was looking to make sure that whatever was going on with Hunter Biden with Burisma and saying that he was getting a lot of money, it was a debunked story, but he still wanted to look into it, and it has actually been fact-checked that nothing actually happened. Time and time again, this has actually been something that was stated, but he wanted to look into that. But you're hearing about something going on in Wuhan, China, and there's a lot of people getting sick. And what resources that he's putting into that? None. In January, his administration team is now saying, hey, you need to look out for this. This can be something that is actually going to be the biggest thing of your whole presidency. This is what's going to be the thing that can make or break, or this is basically a very serious issue. Still, no one is looking into it. Still, no one is being put out there under Donald Trump. Joe Biden puts out an op-ed in regards of, hey, we need to be making sure that this is being looked into. We need to control it before it gets worse. He's someone who's coming from a place of where he has spent and done this. Trump, nope, has nothing to say about it.
After arriving home from European countries, some wondering whether the lack of social distancing here might just make things worse.
And then there was a travel ban.
Not ideal considering what this contagion is.
Travelers packed together, creating mass gatherings, exactly what health officials do not want. Testing for everyone else is ramping up, but not nearly ready to meet the demand.
A travel ban that allowed still 40,000 Americans to come back from every other country that they were visiting, that are now pouring into terminals throughout the nation. In some areas, those terminals weren't even met with doctors and nurses or people and to test them to see if they actually did have the virus, but then in the areas that where people were, you still have massive conjugating where no one is social distancing. And so then those that did get off those airplanes where you were negative, and then you get tested on those rapid tests that sometimes will give you a false positive or negative that may actually say that you are negative, but then you pass hundreds and thousands of people. So by the time you left that terminal, the airport itself, you get in your Uber or your rideshare or your friend or your family member, or you drive off and now you're amongst society with every other American and you have COVID. And if you're asymptomatic, you didn't know it. That's how the spread slowly increased. And then when we're getting borders that were being put up, the borders were put up because Mexico and Canada realized how much of a hotspot the US was. These weren't things that were put in place due to Donald Trump. Donald Trump stayed in it and also is touting in regards to this travel ban. But no, it wasn't even a real travel ban. It was something put in place. Over 200,000 people have now died from this. And a lot of people are still considered long haulers where they're still dealing with the reactions of having COVID-19. And then you do have those that never truly got that sick, or those that did get sick and recovered. We have had over 7 million now who have been diagnosed with COVID-19. Some of them were asymptomatic and some of them were symptomatic. But even if you do survive this, you still may be dealing with long-term health problems that can affect such bodily organs as your lung, your brain, and your heart. So when you do vote for someone in leadership in regards to the pandemic, you might want to put someone in office that don't put your bodily organs at risk.